Welcome to Shadow of History, your destination for mysterious, dark, and untold stories from world history. In today's video, we delve into the tragic fall of the Aztec Empire, one of the most advanced and powerful civilizations of pre-Columbian America. The Aztecs built a vast empire in Mesoamerica, thriving in the heart of what is now modern-day Mexico. But in the early 16th century, their world came crashing down in a way that would change the course of history forever. How did the mighty Aztec Empire, at its peak, fall to a small group of Spanish conquistadors led by Hernán Cortés? Let's uncover the story of the Aztecs' rise, their encounters with the Spanish, and their dramatic and tragic downfall. The Aztec Empire was one of the most remarkable civilizations to ever exist in the Americas. It was founded in the 14th century when a small group of nomadic peoples known as the Mexica settled on a small island in Lake Texcoco, in what is now Mexico City. According to Aztec legend, their gods had promised them a place to settle when they saw an eagle perched on a cactus, holding a snake in its beak. This vision led them to the location where they built their capital, Tenochtitlan. Over the next few centuries, the Mexica expanded their power, establishing alliances and conquering neighboring city-states. The Aztec Empire grew to dominate much of central and southern Mexico, with a population of up to 25 million people at its peak. Tenochtitlan, with its magnificent temples, vast markets, and sophisticated engineering, became one of the largest and most advanced cities in the world. At the heart of Aztec society was their religion, which played a central role in their political and military life. The Aztecs believed that their gods required offerings, including human sacrifices, to maintain the balance of the universe. These rituals were not just religious, but were also used to solidify the power of the ruling class, with sacrifices carried out atop the grand temples in Tenochtitlan. Despite their brutal practices, the Aztecs developed sophisticated systems in agriculture, architecture, mathematics, and astronomy. They were skilled traders, artisans, and warriors, building a highly organized and complex society. However, despite their power and wealth, the Aztecs were not invincible. They faced threats from within their empire, as many of the city-states they had conquered resented their rule. The tribute system, where conquered peoples were required to pay goods, resources, or human lives in tribute to the Aztec Empire, created deep animosity and unrest. Over time, some of these city-states began to seek alliances with external forces in an attempt to overthrow the Aztec rulers. In 1519, the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors, led by Hernán Cortés, would set in motion a chain of events that would ultimately lead to the fall of the Aztec Empire. At the time of Cortés's arrival, the Aztecs were already aware of the existence of Europeans, having heard rumors of strange men arriving by sea. But when Cortés and his men first landed on the coast of what is now Mexico, they were seen as little more than a curiosity by the Aztecs. Cortés, however, quickly recognized an opportunity. The Aztec emperor at the time, Moctezuma II, was a powerful and revered ruler, but he was also deeply superstitious. According to some accounts, the Aztecs believed that their god Quetzalcoatl, a feathered serpent deity, would return one day in the form of a pale-skinned man. When Cortés arrived, he was mistaken for this god, and Moctezuma, believing it was a divine omen, welcomed the Spaniards into Tenochtitlan, but the relationship between the Aztecs and the Spanish quickly soured. Cortés and his men, though initially treated as guests, began to demand more power, resources, and gold. As tensions grew, the Spanish began to manipulate internal divisions within the Aztec Empire. Cortés formed alliances with some of the Aztecs' enemies, who were eager to overthrow their oppressive rulers. In November 1519, Cortés and his small army entered the capital, Tenochtitlan, where they were initially welcomed by the Aztecs. However, the Spaniards' true intentions were soon revealed. Cortés took Moctezuma hostage, using him as a puppet to control the Aztec Empire from within. But as the tension mounted, the situation quickly escalated. The Aztecs, realizing they were being betrayed, rebelled against their captors. In 1520, the Spanish were driven out of Tenochtitlan during what is known as the Noche Triste, or Night of Sorrows. On this fateful night, the Aztecs launched a fierce attack on the Spaniards, forcing them to flee the city under cover of darkness. The Spanish suffered heavy losses, but they were not defeated. Cortés returned to the city with reinforcements, determined to reclaim what he had lost. Over the next several months, the Spanish laid siege to Tenochtitlan. The Aztecs, weakened by disease, starvation, and internal strife, struggled to defend their city. Smallpox, introduced by the Europeans, ravaged the population, killing thousands of Aztecs who had no immunity to the disease. This biological warfare was one of the key factors that contributed to the fall of the Aztec Empire. By August 1521, after a brutal and prolonged siege, the Spanish, aided by their indigenous allies, finally overcame the Aztec defenders. Tenochtitlan, the jewel of the Aztec Empire, fell. Moctezuma was killed under mysterious circumstances, and the once mighty empire crumbled. Cortés and his men had triumphed, but the cost was enormous. The conquest of the Aztecs marked the beginning of Spanish colonization in the Americas, and the end of one of the most powerful and advanced civilizations in history. The fall of the Aztec Empire was a tragic and complex event, shaped by a combination of internal and external factors. The Aztecs, despite their military might and advanced civilization, were ultimately undone by a combination of disease, betrayal, and their own political vulnerabilities. The conquest of the Aztec Empire set in motion a devastating period of colonization and exploitation for the indigenous peoples of the Americas, whose cultures, religions, and societies were forever altered. The legacy of the Aztec Empire lives on in the ruins of Tenochtitlan, the remnants of their great temples, and the rich cultural contributions they left behind. Though the empire itself was destroyed, the Aztec people's influence continues to resonate in Mexico and beyond. The story of their rise and fall is a reminder of the fragility of empires, the resilience of cultures, and the often tragic consequences of conquest. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the tragic fall of the Aztec Empire. If you found this story captivating, please like this video, share it with fellow history enthusiasts, and subscribe to Shadow of History for more mysterious, dark, and untold stories from the past. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the fall of the Aztecs. What do you think were the key factors that led to their demise? Stay tuned for our next video, where we'll explore another fascinating chapter in the history of forgotten and mysterious events. Until then, keep seeking the untold stories of the past. And remember, history is full of shadows waiting to be discovered.